Hello ladies and gentlemen, Top Hat Gaming Man here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Switch, since they like to make that noise in all the marketing campaigns so much. So yes, I'm talking about the Nintendo Switch, which I have right here, and I'm going over my experiences I have had with the system so far. It appears to me that many members of the YouTube retro gaming community appear to be absolutely obsessed with this little device, because every other video coming from many individuals just seems to be based about the Nintendo Switch. Is that because the system is that bloody good, or is that because the system is that easy to make money off of when you make videos about it? Let's see how many views this video gets. Yeah. I have to say, you may have noticed on my channel, I've not made an abundance of videos about this system, purely because it hasn't really caught my attention much since it's been released. And I'm one of the earliest adopters of the system. I'm one of the people who actually was stupid enough to buy it on actual launch day. Like, would you believe that? Launch day. An early adopter. I'm one of the fools they're test marketing the device on. What an idiot. Anyway, the reason why I went for this device so early was because I was actually in Thailand at the time and travelling all over the world. So I couldn't really have home consoles. I could only really play on handheld consoles at the time. So a Nintendo Switch, in theory, should have been absolutely perfect for me. Something amusing as well, I even managed to get it, as I said, in Thailand, and the Nintendo Switch hasn't even been officially released in Thailand. I had to go to a specialist store and pay over the odds in order to get one. And the game I really wanted to play on this one is the same game everyone else wanted to play at the time: Breath of the Wild. It appears that a lot of people, again, they seem to truly love the game. They think it was fantastic. I've moaned about it time and time again on this channel, so I'm not going to go over it too much. But personally, I was very disappointed with the game. It wasn't the typical Zelda experience which I was expecting and wanted from the game. It was, again, it just felt to me like one of those AAA boring open world games, what they seem to make most games like these days. You know what I mean? It just felt so 2017 to me. Big and empty. Like, even all the bloody temples looked exactly the same as each other, didn't they? Like, normally you get like forest temple, ice temple, wind temple, fire temple, etc. But in this game, you only got 4, and they all look bloody the same. Boring. Boring. But anyway, that brings us to another point about the Switch and why I've not got on with it much so far. Like any early console, especially the ones in recent years, there's just not that much content on the thing. And when we do get content, it's content you could get on other platforms anyway. Like bloody Breath of the Wild, I could have just had it on the Wii U instead if I'd have stayed in England. So yes, you can get Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. So really, it's not even an exclusive, is it? And on top of that as well, there is a fair amount of content on here, but most of it is just bloody indie titles. Stuff you can get on Steam, you can get on the Xbox, you can get on the PS4. Probably get it on like the PS3 and the Xbox 360 still, for all I know. Not much exclusivity going on there. And even, like, look, this thing lacks that much content that there's loads of stupid bastards out there who are so desperate for content that they've ended up having to buy Mario Kart 8 twice. That's how low the amount of content is. So they bought Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U a few years ago, and then they bought it all over again on the Switch for full retail price. Like, how funny is that? And bloody idiots are buying Pokken again as well. Bloody Pokken tournament. That game was so lackluster. And people are even buying that again because the system lacks so much content. Whilst I will admit this is not something what's exclusive to the Switch, as I said, this is a new console thing in general, specifically with the recent generations. Like, it kind of mirrors what happened with the Xbox One and PS4. That was just embarrassing. I wasn't interested in those either. Like, you had idiots buying GTA 5 again for retail price, didn't you? And all the other games like that. People were even buying games like bloody I can't even. Sleeping Dogs again. Like, yeah, quite average games people were buying twice just because the systems lacked content. So re-releases of old games seems to be a thing they do now in the launch year of a console. It's just a shame, really. It looks like a lot of exciting content is coming up. I'm not questioning that. Like Mario Odyssey, I bloody want that. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I bloody want that. And even Fire Emblem Warriors, I've pre-ordered that too. So there is content on the horizon. But what I'm moaning about is the first, is it 6 months of the system so far? Boring. Really, really boring. As I said, not a lot going on. Like, I think there's been one big game so far, and I wasn't interested in it personally because it's not a genre of games I like. What was the big game? Splatoon 2. I believe that has been the only big release so far on this system what's been an exclusive. And no, I'm not counting ARMS and other tripe like that, or Hyper Street Fighter whatever edition, because they've made a million Street Fighters. I'm talking true exclusives. Splatoon 2 is the only game on the system thus far which has an air of quality to it. So anyway, we're talking about how my experience has been with the system. Like I said, I've not had that many games because there's not been much to tickle my fancy was actually being released. But let's talk about the system's handheld capabilities. Obviously, I've been producing a series, Handheld Around the World, and something I've been highly critical about certain systems is the battery life. Like, the battery life of a handheld can literally make or break the thing. Like, that was the difference between owning a Game Boy back in the day and the Game Gear. The Game Gear, although it was graphically more impressive than that of the Game Boy, its battery life completely killed the thing, as you couldn't even get through a simple 4-hour flight with a Game Gear because it just would have bloody died. So everyone went for Game Boys instead because you actually got a decent amount of battery life out of the thing. This bloody stupid thing, as a handheld, is about as functional as a bloody Game Gear or Sega Nomad or, I don't know, Atari Lynx. It just functions that badly. You can only get a couple of hours out of it. So for me, if I want to play a Switch as a handheld, even if I'm playing a really good game, I don't get that much enjoyment out of it. Because the whole time I'm bloody playing it, it's like, I don't know, waiting for a countdown. Like it's ominous. The whole experience is ominous because I literally know it's going to die at some point. Even if I know I'm going to get a couple of hours battery life out of it, I could be thinking, I'm really enjoying this game. I'd like to play it for ages. But then I know, no, I can't, because the technology in this thing is too bloody not ready for it, I suppose is the word. The technology is not ready to support games of this level on a handheld. The world's just not ready for it. The same way, as I said, the world wasn't ready for a Nomad, the world wasn't ready for a Game Gear. So as I should imagine in the future, this will function as a great little console, but as a handheld, no chance. The only way the Switch will ever function as a decent handheld is if they re-release another model down the line with a longer battery life, or they release a special battery pack what you stick on the back so you bloody feel like you're actually carrying around an actual heavy brick or something like that. That's the only way this is ever going to function right as a handheld. So Nintendo Switch, overall, a nice innovative piece of kit, but so far not very functional, and game-wise there's not much to be excited about yet. However, I still think with the ongoing sales, which have been doing well, the system has got a bright future, at least in the living room department. So, that was my opinions on the Nintendo Switch. I hope my comments were not as echo chambery as most of which you get online, and you liked my true thoughts on the system. Cheerio!